Now I know I'm not all alone.
You're not all alone because we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cubist. My name is Bill. I'm the Cubist, and I sneak attacked that time, which made me feel better. Hangouts on Air is going away on August 1st. I guess that means I have to get this other thing figured out in the next 3 weeks. Good job. That will go well. Anyway, sorry, I keep getting these weird messages every time we start this up. Hello. I hope you missed us. We missed you. And sorry, it's been a few weeks, but we're back. And we kind of had to cobble this one together because we've all been a little bit crazy for various and sundry reasons. So this is just going to be kind of a free
crazy
form
for a long time.
Yeah, well, that's fair. But I mean, life is getting extra crazy in recent memory. So hello, Kimberly Rivia. How are you?
I'm alive. How are you?
That's exciting. She is what she meant by that. She means she's very excited to be on the show and happy to be talking to her friend.
Sure, definitely. No, I'm happy to see you guys and our one person in the chat, Paul.
And at the moment, Paul. Well, we never know. The problem is that they got well, they got rid of the functionality where we used to be able to tell how many people were watching at any given moment in the live stream window. That is no longer there. And now, of course, we know because they're getting rid of the whole damn platform in a month, which sucks. Hello, Patrick Hillier. How are you?
I am great. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to be sitting down and talking about board games. I went through sort of a weird dry spell of not playing a lot of games for a long time. And then last week I had 3 game days. So like all of a sudden I played all the games all at once. So I'm really kind of geeked to sit and chat about them because I have opinions and thoughts on a lot of stuff. So we are going to this week. This is kind of an AMA / Review-Palooza. So how we're going to do this, just to kind of keep things moving, is we're going to treat this like a Review-Palooza, and we will take breaks every time anybody asks the question in the chat that they want us to answer. So it'll be, the AMA will be scattered throughout because, as you have noticed, we don't have a super active chat room quite yet, but hopefully that will pick up as over the span of it. By the way, we will be doing an After Dark tonight afterwards, assuming that Patrick doesn't fall asleep and face plant into his own keyboard, or even if he does, he'll just keep the chat. There you go. Even more interesting. So there will be After Dark later. So stay tuned for that. That is, of course, in a separate stream, but I have already created the event, so it should be easy to find. I'm going to go first this time because we didn't clear who was going to go first, and Kimberly hates going first, and I didn't want to.
Me?
You do hate going first.
Yeah, I do.
Every time I make you go first, you get mad at me. So in this case, I'm going to start off by talking about Underwater Cities.
Cool.
This designed by Vladimir. How do you pronounce his last name? Is it
I say Sushi.
Sushi? Okay.
I think it's Sushi.
Sushi?
Yeah,
Sushi?
I don't know. I just...
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Patrick, you are the official mispronouncer of names, so we will let you make the final decision on whatever that is. There you go. All right, great. So Vladimir,
it's got to be Sushi.
I can't say that. Anyway, I believe that Sushi is correct.
If it's Italian, and pronounce every letter. Sushi.
Right. He is not Italian.
Okay,
know that because he is one of the designers from Czech Games Edition Studio who has gone out on his own now and has developed his own brand, Delicious Games. Right. So this is the first game with their imprint. In the States, it's being published by Rio Grande. But of course, just like every international published game at this point, it's published by a million different companies. Artist Milan Vabron. It is very similar to every other game that he has designed. And what I mean by that is that it is a game where you are building a specific whatever the theme of the game is. In this case, you are literally building underwater cities, and you are attempting to earn victory points in a variety of different ways. The game that he designed most recently that I think this harkens to is Pulsar 2849, which I've talked about a lot on this show. Mm-hmm. And I've been pretty vocal on how much I really liked that game. I think I like Underwater Cities better. Spoiler. Wow. So here is the conceit of Underwater Cities. If you have not played it, is you are building your underwater city. Funny how that works. And it is a worker placement game there are 3 sections of worker placement spaces around the outside of the board. You also have a hand of 3 cards at the beginning of the game. And every turn, you're going to put one of your little things on a worker placement space to take that action. You're also going to discard a card. If the color of the card matches the color of the space that you went, you also get to use the card's effects. So there's a little bit of hand management in that what is on your cards is going to influence which worker placement spaces you might want to take on any given turn. There are also special cards that you can take specific actions to draw, which are more powerful, but also cost you resources to play as opposed to just playing them. And some of those special cards are the biggest endgame scoring opportunities. But of course, if you take them early, they're clogging up your hand and forcing you to waste an action playing that card rather than actually doing something in game. So it's an interesting push-pull of a little bit of hand management coupled with a regular worker placement game coupled with some point salad-y stuff. It is not perfect. It has a couple pretty significant barriers to entry. I don't want to call them flaws because I don't think the game itself has much in the way of flaws, but it does suffer from a little bit of visual noise, at least in my opinion. I thought that the board is very busy and the text is a little bit small on the cards. And if the cards are upside down and on the other side of the board from you, you will miss that information. I know that the sample size is fairly small. I've only played it twice. The first time I played it where the cards were upside down and away from me, and I came in last place. The second time I played it and the cards were right side up and in front of me, and I came in first place, and the person sitting in that same relative position to me came in last place. Order was different. So, and I realize that's not an excuse. You still have to look at everything, but the information is not equally distributed around the board. And I think that's going to turn some people off from it. If you have visual issues, this is not going to be a friendly game for you, is I guess what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that it has a lot going for it in the mechanics. I think that there is a lot of really interesting decisions to be made. I like the idea of hand management and worker placement blended together into one mechanic where you are doing both of them simultaneously the entire game, but neither one of them is engine because they actually are the same engine. I think it's really clever. It looks nice on the table, even though it is visually busy. I think that they could have made changes to it from a graphic design standpoint to improve function over form. I think they spent a little bit too much time making things pretty, and I would have liked to have seen a little bit of a cleaner look just to keep the game. Underwater Cities. Then thanks for joining us. So I really like it. I think I do like it better than Pulsar 2849 as a game. I do think that I'm planning on keeping Pulsar in my collection. I'm obviously not replacing it, and I'm going to be seeking out Underwater Cities for my own collection, but I can see where there might be folks that would have issue with it. I do want to play it at 2 or 1 player. At lower player counts, you flip the board and you play with a different set of worker placement spaces, which are distributed a little differently, and the actions on them are different. But I really enjoyed it. I'd like to try it at a lower player count and see if it holds up at 2. The one thing that I think Pulsar does do really well is I think 2-player Pulsar is excellent. And Pulsar plays well at every player count, I think, because the changes they made to the 2-player game are really good. I don't feel like that there is enough. It didn't look like there would be enough difference at 2-player for Underwater Cities, but I really liked it. So on the Cubist scale, give it a buy it. But be aware that if you have vision issues, it's not going to be the friendliest game in the world.
May I ask a quick question?
Please.
How frequently do the cards change out?
So the game plays over 3 eras, and you use a different deck of cards for each era for the main cards that you play. The special cards, you flip over 6 out of, I think, 10 or 12 or something like that at the beginning of every game, and those are the only 6 that'll be available from the big ones. And then there is a deck of lesser special cards that you just use that same deck every game. So I don't really know how to describe it. But
sometimes I can't always see across the board all that well, even though my optometrist says I don't need glasses. I will take a picture of the cards though and keep them on my phone.
Okay, yeah. Now I understand your question. They don't. You flip
like a
6 at the
workaround.
beginning of the game and they stay. So once if you take 5 minutes and identify those 6 cards early, you'll be okay. The problem is there's so much navel gazing because you're looking straight down at your own tableau, trying to figure out what the hell you're going to do with this and that, and where you're going to put this thing and how, and your income and whatever. That I think it's easy to get tunnel vision in the game and therefore not keep remembering that those things exist over there. It's not even a matter of you can't read them. It's that they're not visually in your field purview.
Yeah. No, I suffer from that, definitely. Okay.
But other than that, I think it's really good. But yeah, it's it was T pointed out in the chat that it's been compared to Terraforming Mars, and I agree with that. That was the first thing that I thought of when I played it, is that it felt a little bit like TM. In that you're building a tableau of cards that are going to give you abilities and whatnot. Yeah. The difference is instead of building to a common map like you do in TM, you're building to your own map, and everybody's map is completely independent. So there isn't that push-pull that TM has where we're fighting over specific places on the board, which I think actually is a strength of TM that this doesn't have. But there you go. You're always late, Nathan. I feel like that's a thing. That's fine. No. Hello, welcome. I'm kidding.
Welcome to the Cubist.
Welcome to the Cubist. So, anywho, that is Underwater Cities from Vladimir Suki, I believe is what we're going with, because I'm not saying the thing that Patrick said. I'm giving it a buy it. I would like to point out that the BGG page, the community has said that it is best at 2, and I find that interesting. Because I have not played it at 2 yet. We played at 3 and at 4. Yeah, 3 and 4. And I adored both of those plays and was extremely happy both times. So I think it is longer. I will say this. Anybody that pays attention to my opinion on games knows that I trend heavy and long. So it is a longer game. Both games went, yes, you're not wrong. That's for the After Dark show, though, Kimberly. Leave it alone. Anyway, but yeah, it's a little bit heavier than it looks like at first blush, but it's real good. I like it. All right, just for that, Kimberly.
All right, I'm going to talk about Pipeline.
Yeah, you are.
We can't keep it clean, Nathan, but the 4-month-old probably won't be too traumatized. Let me grab Pipeline off my window here. Ugh. Pipeline.
So you can read the back of the box to us.
Art and graphic design by Ian O'Toole. Published by Capstone Games. It is Capstone's very first self-published game. Not just something they brought over. I am a little bit biased. Ryan, the designer, is one of my good friends, and I played it way back when. I'll show you some of the pretties. In Pipeline, you are refining oil. I know. The theme is probably not the best. It's a heavy economic game, but it plays amazingly well. It's quite heavy, and it plays in like 20 to 30 minutes per player, actually. Not just, it says that on the box, but it really truly plays 20 to 30 minutes per player, which is kind of a miracle in and of itself. But I mean, we played a 2-player game in a lunch hour.
Nice.
And 8. So not even just just played it. It's really quick. You have simple worker placement D. I don't know if I can nicely hold the board, so I'll just show you the book instead. Woo. You've just got these different worker placement spots you can go to. You can trigger the bonus actions in each spot. So you're going to be either like buying a machine, which obviously streamlines your pipeline. Oh my gosh, Paul, you haven't played it yet? We had Ryan's copy at Metatopia. Yeah, that's true. It's only quick if you're not analysis paralysis prone, but I think that's true of damn near any game, Tar. I have played like Star Realms and had it take an abnormal amount of time. Just depends on who you play with. But it is definitely a heavy game. It's got a lot to think about, but you are either going and buying like a machine and some pipes. Oops, this is a machine. These are the storage, which the machines obviously utilize things, make them faster. You've got the markets down here, your refined markets, so you can buy and sell from. Up top's your crude market. It's just so pretty, though.
It is very pretty.
You're going to lay pipes and refine oil and make money.
I'll just be quiet over here.
What are you dirty saying over here?
Nothing. I just.
What?
Really?
It was all
You're
the
the one that
rage
isn't
at
gonna get
Origins. For
out-
those of you who didn't make it to Origins, it was all the rage.
It was all the rage at Origin. And I think it's probably still going to be fairly rageful. That was wrong. Popular at Gen Con. And
Yes.
Ryan is a sweetheart, even though he looks like it. Even though he looks like he'd be cranky, he is not. Everybody should like Pipeline. No, it's definitely not a game for everybody. It is heavy, relatively heavy. What's the Geek Market give it? The BGG?
We were talking about that earlier.
3.8 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the heaviness?
Yeah, the heaviness.
The weight.
Yes.
Okay.
Relatively heavy. Oh yeah, T says. So much AP.
Yeah, the only thing I was hearing about it is that it's a tight money market. I think they said, and you kind of get screwed, which that's normal for a heavy game too.
I mean, it's a heavy economic game, so yeah money is going to be tight, but you can take it a loan if you need to, and there are contracts that if you have a contract, you can partially fulfill it like as you go, which is a quick way to make money. You don't have to have all of your refined oil yet.
Okay.
That way you don't have to take out loans because the first loan is $15 and it's $20 at the end of the game to pay it back. The second is $50, and then from there they go insane. I've only had to take one, so I don't remember what they are. But you've got contracts and you've got orders that you can fill, which stay out for everybody, but contracts are personal and you can. But what we played wrong the first time I played the finished version was I thought when I took the contract and filled it, it went away. So I took a variety of contracts that required the same color of oil. There's 3 different colors. They don't go away. They come back at the start of the next year. So my entire engine then was just, oh my God, I need so much orange, which was problematic and not advisable. So, mix it up a little bit, kids. You want to go through and make your best pipes. I should just show pieces, not the book, I guess. But it's all very pretty considering what it looked like initially. Sorry, Ryan. Yeah. Just got these pretty little.
Nice. Whee! I'm reminded. I'm sorry. I'm screen sharing because I want you to help me understand this. The geek rating. I don't know why it is that for some reason I don't understand this. This is the window that I'm looking at. We were talking about this in the pre-show, and and they were saying that they thought that the rating was not strong or that it had been taking a beating or whatever.
Yes.
But I'm not seeing it. I don't understand where am I not seeing this?
On mine, when you open it up before you click directly on the game, when you just search Pipeline, it says geek rating.
Oh, there we go.
Average rating 7.8. And I was surprised to see that the geek rating was 5.9.
I was too far down the rabbit hole. I had gone one page too far.
You've gone one page too far in, yeah.
There we go. Okay, that's why I didn't understand it.
Yes, T is right. It is very engine buildy, heavy economic. You're literally laying pipes, trying to make the most optimal pipe network, and then you can put machines down. And when you fire a machine, every pipe that enters it will get fired off. So it's one quick way to not take a turn, because you can always do it at the end of your turn to set off your machines, which help you refine your oil, which makes it worth more money to either sell in the market, in the refined market, fulfill contracts, or fulfill orders. It's fairly straightforward. It flows really quickly. And yes, depending on who you play it with, it can definitely be AP prone. I'm sure most of my people are pretty speedy, but.
I was going to say, fast play is sort of a point of pride for you in general and your group. That's a stylistic thing for your group. So
not all of my groups that I play in, but yes, I've only played the finalized copy a couple of times now. I played previously. Oh, your Steve is bad at the AP. I didn't realize that. I don't know if I've ever actually really played games with Steve.
We played many BGGs ago.
That's true. Late night games don't count.
Paul is pointing out in the chat, by the way, that it only has 300 ratings right now, which might be why the geek rating is so low, because it's so new that it just hasn't gotten enough into enough hands yet.
Yeah,
Coimbra is pretty fast.
Coimbra is pretty fast. We played Newton T. I didn't play Coimbra with you.
The learning game of Coimbra, I would say, I definitely didn't feel fast.
Yeah.
Like the first time I played Coimbra, I was like, holy crap, this is heavy as hell. And I remember because I came on the show and I talked about it, and Kimberly looked at me like I had lobsters coming out of my ears. She's like, "Wait,
I
what?
mean,
It's heavy," and I'm like, "Yeah,
did you also
my
check
brain
for the
melted out my
lobster?
ears." What?
Oh yeah, I think Coimbra is a much lighter game.
Yeah, and
I
it
do
was
think that pipeline does have a visual aspect that some people are going to be challenged with, because you really like the way that you assemble your pipeline as you buy pipe tiles really can impact your ability to refine your oil.
okay. Yeah,
That can be a hindrance.
the first thing that I thought of, which I recognize for the record is not going to be accurate at all, was Factory Fun, because it has nothing to do with that game. But I mean,
Yeah.
there's that spatial element of it that, as you were describing the game, it reminded me of.
It does have the spatial thing, yeah.
Yeah,
It's mostly an engine building heavy economic game with you got to play in a little bit, but when workers are in a spot, when somebody is in a spot, it does not block it, which is nice. And there are upgrades you can buy to do things. I've only tried one upgrade so far.
That's
and
cool.
Now I'm opening my next game review on my phone, so that the next game you want me to talk about, since I have no idea.
No, that you said you were going to talk about. Don't be like that. No.
Yeah.
All right. So, did you officially give this a rating yet?
Oh, it's one of my favorite games. It's a buy it for me if that's your kind of thing. If you are not sure about an economic game that also involves a little bit of a visual aspect, probably just try it, because it's probably like a $65. I don't remember. I kickstarted it. But the art is pretty, and the graphic design, being Ian O'Toole, really lends well to ease of play.
Okay.
Like, things are fairly well drawn out. So there's some errors in the rule book that don't match things, but yeah.
I mean, it's funny because you're addressing the thing that I criticized Underwater Cities for right now, and maybe just did a better job at it. And I think that there's just, that's just gonna be one of those things where some games just really nail it and other games don't. And it's too bad too, because it sounds like Pipeline's excellent. I'm glad that the usability is there. I will say that one of the things that I remember hearing somewhere along the way was that it felt like a lot of setup for a very short game. Do you agree with that?
No, it doesn't take that long to set up once you've got it organized.
Okay. So it's just going to be a matter. Is this going to be a custom insert kind of game for folks? Not for you necessarily, but I mean, is it one of those?
Not that many pieces. I don't know. It's got a little bit of setup, I guess.
Okay. But it's not
too bad.
Okay.
It's just a few stacks.
All right. Just checking.
Yeah. I mean, I just put them in those little plastic tub thingies.
Sure.
And put those on the table.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So we've talked about two new hotnesses. Patrick.
Hey, I got a new game.
Take us in the other direction.
All right. I need to do a quick screen share. How do I do that again?
Top left corner of the Hangout window. Look for the green screen with the arrow.
There it is.
By the way, you're also getting a crash course in how to use a feature that will be gone in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Am I sharing my screen?
Not yet.
And
yeah, right now, according to BGG, you can get Pipeline for $70 on Amazon.
On Amazon, I think that Amazon.
All right, now I'm doing it. Are you seeing?
I don't know.
Yes.
All right. So young Patrick in 1977, he was 8 years old, went and saw Star Wars, and the next year for Christmas, he got the Death Star space station, which later he repurchased as an adult and has on his shelf right over there. So Patrick is.
Do I recall correctly that is this the one that has the trapdoor?
Yeah. It's got the trapdoor, and it falls down in the trash compactor, and there's little sponges in there, and you compact it, and and the monster's down in there, and all this other cool stuff.
I never owned it, but I went over to my friend's house specifically to play with it.
Yeah. So. Just imagine, Patrick's reliving his childhood. So Patrick also played Star Wars Destroy, the Death Star game, a few years ago, and it was pretty good for a retro original Hasbro Star Wars game. So Target recently came out with Star Wars Escape from the Death Star game, and it comes with retro grandma talking action figure that you could put into your play set. So I pretty much had to get this game. Well, this isn't the same game I played before. This is a slightly different version. This game is awful. Unless you want an action figure, do not buy it.
That's reasonable.
So let's see. This came out in 1977, and the rules
4.8 on
yeah.
BGG.
Not only did they redo the rules, they did them worse. Cindy and I tried to play it, and we couldn't figure out how to play it. So then I got online and I found a different version of the rules on the Geek, and they were better. The original rules from 77 were better than the modern versions that they tried to do. This game is beyond horrible. I think it's a Target exclusive right now. So like I said, unless you were willing to spend $20 to get this thing, do not buy Star Wars Escape from the Death Star game. I mean, the components are horrible. The game, it's just stupid.
It's overall ranked 17,180 on BGG.
Right.
And I remember this game. I remember thinking, I remember playing this after I had played some other, like my dad had just started teaching me the old Avalon Hill war games.
Yes.
So I'd played like Tactics 2 a little bit and Battle of the Bulge and that sort of thing. And then played this and I was like, wow, this isn't a game. Like, it just felt like complete crap. And I didn't realize, like, I in my idea, if there are retro games you're going to bring back, this is not one of them.
This is not one of them. Right. Exactly. Yeah. This isn't one that
republished Queen's Gambit for crying out loud. Yeah, like make Queen's Gambit again. If you want to capitalize on Star Wars mania and print a bunch of money, reprint one of the good ones. It's not like there haven't been good ones. Yeah, well. All right. Yeah, it was bad. All right. We have our first AMA question. I put in the chat to don't forget. So around the table, our favorite game that uses polyominoes.
Not to be confused with polyamorous.
Yes, that is true. So I want to make sure that I get a clarification on what you mean by polyominoes, because lots of tile laying games sort of get lumped into this. And I don't think that's exactly what you're talking about here, because you could make a strong argument that Carcassonne, those are polyominoes, for lack of a better term, because you are matching edge to edge, and you know what I mean? They're just not numbers, they're art. So I guess I don't really know. I don't know.
I assumed
I'm thinking something
cottage garden, that kind of thing.
Thing popped into my mail Patchwork's really high on the top for me. But the other thing that popped into my head was Barren Park.
Oh, Barren Park, yeah.
Okay, yeah, got it. So if you're thinking those sorts, so what I think of is the Tetris style games.
Tetris style pieces. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah, he clarified.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Thank you,
like
Patricia.
Pieces.
Thank you.
Patrizio.
We pulled the little legs off of
Patrizio,
thinking that they popped out, and they did not. My kid is going to be pissed.
What?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I accidentally pulled the little legs off of this eraser. It's a bunny.
Oh no!
I thought they pulled out these little.
Get your fidget thing. Get your fidget thing.
Where are your tiny balls to play with? Remember the tiny balls?
Most of my stuff is packed.
Go. Never put away your tiny balls. Come on. You should know better. All right.
Not after dark yet.
That's true. All right. So favorite, you guys, what were your votes here so far? Barren Park?
Patchwork and Barren Park. I mean, you can't beat Patchwork in my mind. That's a near perfect game.
I really like Patchwork too. That's
Barren Park.
my favorite.
See, and I would rather play Barren Park than Patchwork any day of the week.
Wow.
Patchwork's fine. I just don't love it. I love Barren Park.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, neither one of those would be my vote. I would pick A Feast for Odin, because I love
my second. Yeah.
Yeah, Feast for Odin I really like. Because it's just, I don't know why. Also, of all of the games that I own that play solo, I think that's my favorite solo play experience over the long term. For a while there, it was Terraforming Mars, but I really do enjoy playing Feast for Odin solo.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
the because you play two different player colors and you alternate which color you're playing in any given turn. So the colors that you put out last turn will stay there and clog the spaces for next turn. So it forces you to sort of think 2 turns ahead, which I think really is enjoyable for me from a solo standpoint. So that would be it for me. Peace Road.
Nice.
There you go. All right. Steve is too good at those games, at the Polyomino games. I haven't played Second Chance yet. I'd like to.
That's pretty light, but that's pretty good.
Second Chance is lovely. But then it's mostly about that doodling for me. Like, what am I going to...
Oh, no. I've not played that one. What's the other one? Silver and Gold is one I was thinking of.
Oh, I haven't played that one yet.
Yeah, I have not either.
Fancy fan.
What I did play recently, segue. Do you like that? What I did play recently, the next game that I want to talk about, and I'm just going to say straight up, this is a first impression. I've only played it once, so this is a knee-jerk first impression of a game. Is I played Crown of Imara for the first time.
Never heard of it.
This is designed by Benjamin Schwer.
Yes.
Or Schwer.
Can we share in the early show?
Published by Pegasus Spiel. Artist is what? Anyway. Yikes. Oh, yeah, numbers really good.
He was asking if we can share in the early show. It's Patrick. Come on now.
No, sorry. It took me a second. Crown of Imara is, for all intents and purposes, a 2-rondel management game. There are 2 boards, and each one is a 4-space rondel, and you have a mover on each of those 2, and you have cards, and you're going to have a hand of 3, and each turn you're going to play one of those 3 cards into one of your 3 slots. Whichever slot you put it in is going to tell you how many spaces you're going to move around one of the...
Sorry. Paul in the chat. He's preaching at the choir.
Yeah, you are. I hate you, Paul. No, I don't really hate you. Anyway, you whatever slot you put your card into is going to whether you move 1, 2, or 3 spaces around one of the 2 rondels. Wherever you land on the rondel is going to be either the resources you collect if you're on the resource rondel, or the action you take if you're on the city rondel. And then the card itself has some sort of special bonus that you get for having played it. And you're collecting every resource collection game in the world: wheat, stone, wood, whatever, cloth, all the normal stuff in the one board. And then you might be converting it into bread, but that's a very minor thing that I saw. And then the other side, you're collecting gold and rings, which are like favors from the king or whatever, and then spending those things to get status. The other conceit of the game is that you have 2 scoring pieces on the scoring track, and your final score is whichever one of those is lower. This has been done before, but one of the pieces starts off considerably ahead of the other. So it sort of wants you to focus on one half of the game first and then switch years somewhere along the way. It is very, very functional. This is the best thing the best way I know how to describe this game. It feels very tightly designed. I see no, it doesn't feel like there are going to be any real exploits, but it also exploits, any weird rules things that somebody is just going to figure out some sort of optimal something. But it also, I think the word that I came up with when I played it was uninspired. It felt very samey. Nothing about this game felt particularly unique. Everything felt like it had come from another game. It's very tightly designed, and I could see certain kinds of gamers really loving it. It's fast. It works. Once you get the handle on the mechanics in 5 minutes, you're off to the races. There's almost no end game scoring, so everything you get is up front. The only thing that you end game score for is stuff that you didn't get around to spending in the game. This sounds like a negative review, and I don't mean it as negative. I just mean that it didn't blow my doors off from a single play. All 3 players, we were all learning it for the first time, and the spread from first to last was 4 points. So everybody, it was a very tight game. And yeah, it's the 2 rondels feel disconnected. They are first off, are literally disconnected, but one doesn't feel like it drives the other. You're either bothering to get resources on one, or you're spending resources you've already gotten on the other, is sort of what it feels like. It just uninspired is the best word I can come up with for it. I think it's a solid play it. There's nothing mechanically wrong with the game. It's fine looking on the table. It's fast. like I said, there is a certain market of the gaming world that is going to fall head over heels in love with it. I'm just not part of that market. I think it's too samey for me for everything else that I've played. And I just, it's just one, there's nothing about it that shines. The components are nice. Give them that. Components are great. And it does a couple cool things, but there are other games that I have that I would rather play that do all of those same things. Like there's other stuff on my shelf that's already, I think, more nuanced and interesting. So, but it is super playable. It's very accessible and very easy. It flows really good. I will give it that. It's clearly a labor of love that was put together by somebody that really felt passionately about it and wanted to really create a streamlined gaming experience. And they absolutely did that.
Yes.
So there you go. Oh, yep. All right. Good point.
What
Thank
was
you,
your
Patrick.
Cubist rating?
Oh, Cubist rating. Play it all day. I said it before. I just glossed over it.
Oh, okay.
It's a play it. It is
Sorry to
almost
yell that at you. We can get back to the question.
it's almost a quintessential play it, in that I think that it's going to be one of those games that, like at BGG, I think this is going to be one of those games when I have 90 minutes and I don't know what I want to play and I would just want to check something out. I could see myself going and checking this out and playing it just because I know how to play it and I could teach it and it would be done quick, but I wouldn't be like, ooh, you know what I really want to do? So yeah, it's a play it.
Reasonable.
All right, question. Most anticipated pending Kickstarter. Mine is super easy, and it's mostly because I'm nervous about my new job. It's Eclipse. I'd like my damn Eclipse to get here before I leave for my career where I might not ever get to play it.
That's reasonable.
Damn it. How about you, Patrick?
Mine is Gilhova's High Rise. I'm interested to see how the building names turned out, particularly the one that I named.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Kimberly?
Me, I think it's probably Age of Steam. I know.
No?
I know it exists. I want my pretty version. It's either that or On Mars.
Yeah, I'm really bummed that I wasn't able to do I just, first off, I was going to do the $570 one of every Vital Lacerda super deluxeificationized one, and I think that would have been amazing. That was before I got this fancy new career thing, though, and I thought I was going to have a collection for a long time, so that's probably a whole different ballgame. But I really want to play that one. That's one of the ones I'm going to be chasing people around at BGG trying to demand plays out. I suspect that and Escape Plan.
Oh, Escape Plan! I've played Escape Plan.
Yeah, I have not. Nobody in my group owns it.
Really? So, too many.
Can't stop.
My group.
You know what? I was going to say, I think T is answering Patricio's question about the oldest published game you own. I think my copy of Can't Stop would be right up there. I have the weird old Parker Brothers stop signs version of it from, the gigantic flat.
Mine is
that version. That would
and we're
be
talking
right
about the
there,
actual date that it was published. I mean, because like Pitt's from 1903, but mine version's not 1903 or.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that we're talking about the actual version. But the winner for me would not be Can't Stop. I just realized. It's what?
Mine's probably Scrabble. I have this deluxe Scrabble from 80 something.
With the spinning board? With the board with the built-in lazy
I have
Susan?
that one, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That is the only way to play that damn game.
It's from 89, I think. And yeah, I love that one.
Mine
Does
is,
anybody?
Sorry. I found a game called Rich Uncle from 1946, and I think it's literally from 1946. We played it. It's actually pretty cool. Designed by Harry O. Todd. Stock market game. And 1946. That's probably I think that's my physically oldest
I feel like I've heard of it.
I have not.
My physically oldest game that I own is Twixt. And I just realized that it is the one that I own.
Like this,
because I have the Alex Randolph, actually. So that's one of the Alex Randolph games. I have the 3M bookshelf version from 1962 that I still have a copy of. If you've never played it, it's a very simple game, but it totally works and holds up pretty well to this day, actually. Yep, that's the version of Can't Stop I have. That's the stop sign one.
What everyone's talking about in the chat room.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the best version.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
Although,
have the Eagle Griffin version of Can't Stop.
is that the mountain climbing one?
No, mine is still a stop sign.
Still stop sign? Okay.
Mhm.
There was one version that was mountain climbers, right?
I've
Where
never
it
heard
was
of that
all
one.
I
think
thought I
you're high.
remembered
There's the pretty Japanese
seeing-
version where it's like
Yes.
a napkin, which is great for portability, but
Mhm.
also if you like breathe,
Yeah,
you knock the
exactly.
things around. So
Yeah, I just try not to do that.
it
Sure.
should be like slightly weighted, I think.
Mhm. T in the chat. I have an old copy of Diplomacy also, but I want one of the copies that has the wooden armies and navies, and I still have the plastic one. One of these days I'm gonna get
I don't
the
even
one
know
with
where
the
my
wood
super old
bits.
diplomacy is.
My dad
is old too, I think.
My dad has a copy of Risk with the wooden pieces from way back in the day that I'm more than a little jealous of. I want to steal. Not because Risk is a good game, but just because that's a cool version of it.
Mhm.
Yes, there will be an After Dark, Paul. All right. Speaking of Paul and Trolly, our friend of the show / inadvertent troll, Paul, favorite classic area control game. Get it out of your system now, people. I don't know.
I don't have one.
Yes, you do.
I don't have one.
Is it
Oh
El
my
Grande?
God.
Because that game is terrible. It's not terrible.
I do like around it kind of.
I
I
know
don't
you do.
really love any area control anything.
Neither do I. That's
my
sort of
thing.
where I was headed with that story.
All
I don't
right.
like.
All right, we're going over
Although
to the
I will
geek.
give you one. Hang on, I've got one. Classic favorite area control, Mission Red Planet.
Yeah, I like that.
That's been
a
around.
fun little game.
Yep, that's been around a long time, and I like it. Or
You cannot
Pompeii,
just ask people to show you their box. Jesus.
or the old Mayfair game, Downfall of Pompeii. That would
Oh,
count too.
is that area control?
I'm doing a search on what games are area control right now.
I would
I love
consider.
Downfall of Pompeii. I would not consider that area control.
Well, I mean, when you're placing your little dudes out in the first half of the game before they explode.
Eclipse is an area control game, Bill, by the way.
Which one is
Eclipse.
Twixt? Yeah. I know.
Eclipse.
Oh, Eclipse. No, it's not.
According to the geek.
I mean, it is in as much as every 4X game is area control, right? Like that's just one of those.
Yeah.
That's one of those terms that I think gets thrown around too
Here,
much.
El Grande. That looks. That's good. So I rated that a 10.
Yeah, well, that person is wrong.
I have played it once and I enjoyed it.
What, El Grande?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you do get to chuck people into a volcano and Downfall of Pompeii, and it's terrible historically as that is.
Yes.
It is very enjoyable to throw your friends in the volcano, and I put the little flashy votive in, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, there you go. Tic-tac-toe. So, fun story. I went to China's a good choice. Well done, Tom. I did not go to China. I was arm candy at a wedding for my friend a few weeks ago, and they had a wooden tic-tac-toe board sitting next to the bar as sort of a fidget piece.
Yeah.
This was an upscale, like rooftop bar kind of thing. And they had this wooden tic-tac-toe board. And for some reason, random drunk people kept trying to challenge me to play because somewhere along the way, somebody had talked about being a big board game guy. And so that became a thing. And I was like, I do not want to play tic-tac-toe, but it's a board game. Look, here's a board. Rinse and repeat. So I ended up sort of running away from the bar, which made me sad because I was also supposed to be the designated drinker for our pairing. But then I had to avoid the bar because that's where the tic-tac-toe board was. So thank you for reminding me of that traumatic experience, Paul.
I got Candyland the other day. You mean like Candyland? Oh yeah. I guess you didn't say Monopoly, but thanks.
Teotihuacan less than Pipeline.
I agree.
Okay.
I like Teotihuacan as well, but
so I think the more interesting question is Teotihuacan or Tzolk'in. Which one is the better game? Tzolk'in. I agree. 100%.
Teotihuacan seems to lend itself heavily to AP. There's a lot of choice with the way that you can go with things, and even with my people, my gaming people who play relatively quickly, Teotihuacan seems like it plays a little bit longer than it needs to. I enjoy it. I would not turn it down, but
I also wonder, I haven't played it enough to be able to speak on this with any kind of authority, but I also wonder if the Avenue of the Dead strategy is a little bit OP in Teotihuacan. It seems like the thing that is always going to be a constant source of points and goodness. And I don't know. So, T, thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure. Yeah, what kind of question is that? There are a lot of folks, Sean. Since you asked a question, I'm going to answer it. There are lots of folks that are claiming that Teotihuacan is Sulcan 2.0 / better than. And I think that is crazy talk, but who knows? Who knows?
no.
When is the Bill's birthday bash cruise? Question
Nice.
mark.
Oh my
Nice.
goodness. Wait,
Cool.
let Patrick talk about his snail game.
Oh, sorry. All right. So we'll get back to your cruise question, Paul. Snail sprint?
Well,
What?
this is just a coincidence. Didn't know T was going to be on the show, but
Yeah.
she
that's what
did
happened.
personally hand me Snail Sprint because I pre-ordered this because I was so excited about it. So this is a racing game. And part of the game is that you magnetically move your snails up the side of the
Oh, I do like
tin
this. Yes. I'm in
as
for
part
that.
of the game.
I
so
hate
they're-
tins, but I like that.
Yeah, I do too. But these are the symbols. So you roll these symbols, and you have to move your snail to the next, like say yellow, and you move them up there. And all of a sudden, the yellow is no longer there. This is now a blue symbol. So if you roll a blue,
Oh,
your
that's
snail
cute.
can't move to there. So that's a little bit of interest in the play. And the other thing that's the coolest thing. I mean, these German guys are kind of smart. When you're playing the game, you can't see the tin from the inside and the outside. So like, see how if this side of the tin weren't facing me, it'd be facing Kimberly, say, if you are playing her. If you look on the other side, they've duplicated it on the inside of the box.
Oh, that's clever too. Yeah.
Pretty clever. So for a kid's game, it's got a lot of really clever parts to it. So this, if you got kids or even just, an adult with a childlike mind, this is a definite buy it. So there's a quick plug
feels
for
like
Snail Sprint.
It feels / sounds like Candyland with magnets.
It's Candyland with magnets, but it's got a little bit of strategy to it. It's a little bit more than just drawing and have to move.
Light strategy. Boom.
Yeah, a little bit of light strategy.
I happen to have one of those small things. Not my kids are too old for that, but I mean, I have a new niece, so eventually.
Right. Yeah, I've got a friend who's his kid's about 5 now, and every time I go visit him, I bring a Haba game to play, and it's right up that alley.
I cannot stop yawning. After Dark should be good.
Mhm. I believe in you.
Did
Gen
you want
Con,
me to
who's-
get spaghetti?
We will get there in a hot second, but people asked about questions and we promised that we would intersperse with questions. So the question was asked if any of us are going to Gen Con. I am not. I actually was going to try and sneak to Gen Con, and now I am going to Orlando for training for the new job for most of the month of August. So I won't be able to go at all.
It's crazy, Dad. Patrick thinks he might go for Saturday.
Yeah, well, my buddy Jonathan said he might drive us over, so we'll see.
There
That's
you
a hard pass for me. That's way too many people.
Gotcha.
I don't mind
right.
going for a day. Still seeing my peeps.
If you go, like, if I were only going to go for one day, I would want to go on Saturday, but I would do that because I love the costume contest. And so I would go in the morning, visit the dealer hall for a couple hours and do whatever little things I wanted to do there. And then just go sit and watch the costume contest because I think it's amazing. But that would be, that would be my one day thing.
You don't have to go. I mean, I don't care about buying this stuff. So if you just don't hit the hall and you go around the board gaming areas or the arena stuff, and you can see people playing board games and stuff, or go out to the beer garden, or I
think the reason
to see that aren't just buying games in the main hall.
I think the reason that I always enjoy going to the dealer hall when I go to big conventions, even though I'm probably not going to do a lot of shopping when I'm there, that is the best time for getting demos.
Yeah.
People that theoretically already know how to play the game. So that way I don't have to, you know what I mean? I can, that's my one try before I buy generally that exists in my life.
Sure.
So, all right, let's see. Bill's birthday bash cruise. My birthday will be here and gone before people can book tickets onto Virgin Voyages, as she said. Patricio, non-board game question. Who was your favorite teacher in middle or high school, and what did that teacher do that you loved? That is an excellent question,
We're
and
so
I need to
old,
think about.
Patricio. We're old.
I was going to say I barely remember
I
any
was
of
gonna
those.
say, I feel awful
They-
that I don't remember her name. She had white hair and she taught English, and she just did. She felt like she just wasn't being awful, for lack of a better term. She felt like she cared, and everyone loved her.
That's nice.
I
And,
had.
God, I wish I could remember her name.
Oh, sorry.
It's been like 30 years. How old am I?
Yeah.
My yearbook's
I had a
right over
math
there.
teacher.
Grab it.
I had a math teacher in middle school, Mr. Ludwig, who I had a moment. I think if I recall correctly, he was my geometry teacher, and I had a moment where I approached him with a question where I didn't understand why infinity could be of different sizes. Like, because I was like, there are an infinite number of points on this line, but then there are an infinite number of points on this ray formed from this line segment, and then there's an infinite number of points on this plane. How can you tell me that they're all the same?
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me like, wait a second, why is this? I believe I was in 7th grade. Was like, I'm sorry, this is a conversation we're going to have, 7th grade kid, and said, hey, come back after school if you've got a half an hour, and we'll talk about it. And I had never had a teacher that had been willing to take time out of their personal time to sit and answer questions like that before. That was the first time that I ever had a teacher that was willing to spend their own personal time to sit down and talk with me and help me understand something that I could not get my brain around. And I never forgot that moment. And what was funny about it is that everybody else in my school hated Mr. Ludwig. Like, he was one of those teachers that everybody was afraid they were going to get. And I will never forget that moment when I just realized that there was a teacher that wanted to help me understand rather than just earn a paycheck. And that was, and I know that most teachers do want to help you understand, right? But that's the perception when you're a kid is a whole different ballgame, right? Like, you don't understand that crap when you're a teenager. You just don't. Like, it's not what it feels like. They're just there to work. You don't really feel like they're people, or at least I
think
didn't.
most kids don't really see adults in general as full.
No, they're all stupid.
Mine was an English teacher. He was incredibly private, so I'm not even going to say his name. But I ran into him like 5 years ago at a grocery store when I was back in Seattle visiting, and he was still good. He was mean. Like, most people would have called him mean, but really it was just you have this level of potential, don't waste it.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing with people, which works for some people and it doesn't for others. And for me, that works. So
I think I think that's probably a pretty common denominator amongst a lot of teachers that get pegged as quote unquote mean, is they're the teachers that are just driven, right? Like, they're the ones that are like, look, you guys you should be doing this. Get your shit together. So,
you're smart.
I swore on the main show. Damn it.
Do better. It wasn't even me. Can I
know,
F-bomb
right?
now?
No.
6 minutes.
So, Nathan, type in the chat if you are gonna back after dark. I want to wait to answer your question about my new job until after dark. If you don't mind. If you're not going to come back for after dark, say so in the chat and I will answer it now. But I'd like to be able to talk about it on after dark. So teaser. Yes, please do the thing.
He told me I had to talk about it. I'm going to go for a very serious. Earlier it was heavy game. Now we're going to talk about Yeti and My Spaghetti.
Nice.
Well, Patrick and I have recently played this. The designer is literally uncredited on BGG.
Yes, it is. So is the artist.
Sounds like also NA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So the reason
there's an uncredited designer and there was no artist.
Yes.
There's no artist apparently, and the designer is uncredited. So this all seems sketchy as hell currently, kids. I'm so sorry. It is a dexterity game. There's literally a bowl of fake spaghetti and a Yeti. It's pick up sticks with a Yeti.
Sure.
That's what it reminded me of. We played it at
BGG. The description on BGG, literally the first sentence is, no one knows why, but a Yeti is sitting on the spaghetti.
I mean, why not? It looks cozy, I guess. First of all, how big is this bowl of spaghetti? I was under the impression that Yetis were quite large.
Well, this is a miniature spaghetti.
This is a miniature spaghetti. So how tiny is this?
A miniature Yeti, I mean, or it's giant spaghetti. One of the
Maybe
two. We haven't determined.
Yeah.
I mean, if there can be miniature ponies, there should be able to be miniature spaghettis, right?
That's
Yes.
true.
So we played
Toy
it
Yeti.
at our friendly local game store with my kids. The big one just pulled off the shelf and was like, yes, just being a smart ass.
Mhm.
So we played it and we get it all set up and there's no damn Yeti.
Oh, jeez.
So we used my phone as the Yeti. He goes to return the box, put it back on the shelf and goes, oh, here's the Yeti. It was just
Nice.
So we played a Yeti in my spaghetti, Sans Yeti, sub in phone. It wasn't great.
I'm super
Fine.
surprised.
2 minutes.
It's funny.
I'm gonna
Can I just say-
burn it on the Cubist.
Oh, it's a burn
It
it.
doesn't need to exist.
It's
It
pickup.
doesn't need to exist. Pickup sticks. is the
It's
thing.
pickup sticks. Yeah.
There's goddamn pickup sticks. It is really not better. If you're gonna go for better, like more two pickup sticks, play the cuckoo's nest or
Go
whatever.
cuckoo. Go cuckoo. Yeah.
Yeah, that Hava one. I guess that's also like Plinko, but still. Or whatever the shit that's called.
I think Sean might be onto something in the chat. I think that
My spaghetti has
that
a very good ring if
name-
I return my ringer on.
by the way, the BGG page community says 2 to 6, best none.
All right. So can I jump in here? The only reason this is even on my radar is because Alan works for Play Monster, and Play Monster sells Yeti in my spaghetti.
Tell them to update their BGG. Credit some people.
I'm sure they have nothing to do. They're a Hasbro-ish type company that doesn't have designers. I think they're pushing into the niche market with something that's a little bit heavier, but that's not been there.
No, yeah. And that's okay. They
Yeah,
have 2 minutes left of OG Cubist friends.
I was trying to see if I could look at the picture of the back of the box to see whether that would have any. What it does have is 3 children, all of whom look like they have promised snacks if they will pretend to enjoy the thing that they are about to do on there. That's all I'm saying. Like the little boy on the right.
Hey, can I say one thing? It was more fun playing Yeti in my spaghetti than it was playing Star Wars.
Ooh.
Wait, did you give Star Wars a rating?
I gave Star Wars a burn it. I don't know what I said. I said, get it if you want the action figure.
Yes.
Otherwise,
$20 on the toy. Buy it.
Otherwise, burn it.
We got 2 burn it in one show.
Mm-hmm.
Did you give Snail Sprint a?
Oh, Snail Sprint said buy it. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, not bad. So 3 buy it's, 2 burn it. Yeah, 2 burn it's and a play it. That's not bad. No forget it's. Like I love that we are in the realm of extreme today.
Yeah.
Burn it down.
Burn it down.
It's been a stressful couple of weeks and we're ready to burn things.
I lagged out there for a hot second, so I'm going to pretend that whatever Kimberly just said was the most amazing thing in the history of
hilarious.
It was.
That's hilarious.
I believe you. Of course it was. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cubist is a proud member of Punchboard Media, where we all bring something to the table. Go to punchboardmedia.com for lots of great other content. This is the end segment. We are going to go to the After Dark show. Patricio, besides that, you are assuming that would be our favorite. I guess you'll have to watch After Dark to find out.
Oh,
snap!
My crap.
Hopefully that you have already turned on the notification bell on our YouTube channel so that way you will get notified of every new thing. But if you go to that thing, we will be there in just a couple of minutes. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, everybody. You did the hang out. Kimberly and Patrick, you're both coming back for After Dark, correct?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, y'all. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Hang on. We'll see you soon. Bye.